On into another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name's the Schiller. We got to start today talking about my pizza excursion. So there's a new pizza spot in town. Go to it, right? And first people there, like I'm talking, I was waiting in my car for it to open. It's open 4 to 8, kind of newer. They're just doing their thing. No problem, right? So we get in, we order two Zaz. We ordered two of them. And there's another guy that walks in like, about the same time, maybe a minute or two after him, places an order as well. Now, as this is happening, you can kind of hear the kitchen talking about something that doesn't seem all that right, but the individual that was there at the same time as me ends up coming back after they left for a momentaro, and they handed that individual the pizza. And of course, you got Sheila there who's just sitting, patiently waiting for the two Zaz. And then I hear some about, oh, there's a hole in it. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Are they trying to whisper in? What in the gosh darn it is going on? And so I guess they threw out that pizza and then started prepping another one and then came over to me and started like trying to, chit chat, be like, oh, how's it going? And then they were like, yeah, so there was like a hole in your pizza. And again, like, I don't really care. Like, okay, there's a hole in the pizza. Who in the halibut cares? And you would think, okay, maybe there's like a refund or some kind of compensation, and they offer me dip. I go in, think I'm going to be in and out in 15 minutes because absolutely nobody's there. They put a hole in the pizza, and then I have to sit there, and it takes another 30 minutes to cook the other pizza. And I got a $2.50 dip out of it. Absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, you guys aren't here for pizza. You are here for the latest and greatest within Web3. And let's jump into that. All my wallets have been drained. Do not interact with any of my wallets. I have been hacked. And this is said from David. Now, what happened is David got sent a link to install something on X through his DMs. Again, I am super cautious of that. When somebody sends you something, don't download it. When they're like, hey, you need to try out this app, just don't do it. It is not worth it. Always remember, security is number one. So one thing that I found that's kind of weird is every single day there is like a take on the timeline, and then it's like regurgitated over and over and over again on different topics. And so later in the day yesterday, there was some talks about how OpenSea can win again. And Adam Cochran saying, I mean, the playbook they should have followed was not do the opposite of everything their community wanted, not crash it all the time, not have employees insider trading and dumping on you, and launched a damn token. Getting into an interesting token that is being launched, or point system, with a wallet you may be familiar with here in a little bit. But if you've seen OpenSea as the topic on your timeline, why is everybody talking about exactly the same thing? If you're creating music with Gen I, Carrie Echoes here with a very interesting point. Highly recommend the .wave format and listening on good monitors or speakers. If you guys don't know, Gen AI is a music generator that is actually on the blockchain. Oddly enough, still in the early stages, but you get a ton of free credits if you've used any kind of AI program. You know that there's credits for it, and sometimes it's expensive, and right off the rip, it gives you quite a good deal. Okay, so this was a pretty hilarious episode. So I've been doing the RWA Segments podcast, and we had David from Club Devin. And when you're talking the high-class luxury experience, wine tours, first-in-class everything, this is the guy that's talking about it, and he went and saw the world's largest wine collection. It's like 200 millions of wine. It's a crazy, crazy story, but here's a quick clip from that session.
It's a little tiny winemaker in France sending 5 cases of wine to a little tiny importer in Oslo. When you think about that transaction, that's maybe a $2,000 transaction, right? But that's happening 50 million times a year around the world. 50 million tiny transactions. But that little transaction is incredibly inefficient. You've got a tiny little winery and a tiny little importer, so you've got counterparty risk. How do I know you're going to send me the wine? How do I know you're going to send me the money? Anyone who's done anything on the blockchain knows that's like a textbook use case for a smart contract. Imagine a smart contract. So now you don't have risk. Now you don't have to worry, are you going to send me the money? You don't have to worry, are you going to send me the wine?
And this is a great point. When we talk about the rationale for why things exist in crypto and blockchain, why, we talked about the Coinbase helping businesses the other day, where again, the transaction fees are very, very minuscule, at least right now. there's going to be some good things to flush out. And if you guys want to listen, that's in my X bio or in the YouTube description below. So yesterday, the fear and greed index actually went all the way down to fear at 30. However, when you go back to today, it's at 44 here and kind of in like the neutral range. And we'll get into some meme coins that ended up absolutely flying. But odd speculation on the timeline here from one.kong saying Coco Bear. And if you don't know who Coco Bear is, he is one of the mega NFT whales within the space. He's highlighting Axie Infinity and CyberKongz within his bio. Guy has an unbelievably large NFT collection. He says Coco's Bear last tweet was in May, the same as CZ, former CEO of Binance. Speculation for some Gen Kongs has started in CyberKongz that Coco Bear equals CZ. If this were to be in fact, it would make a lot of sense why Coco Bear has remained anonymous throughout the years. How bullish would it be for CyberKongz if this statement were to be true? And again, there was some conversations of, oh, Dingaling, if you remember who he is, massive Top Shot whale into a lot of other collections. They thought, oh, that was CZ's man. Coco Bear, if that actually is true, maybe they just decided to take a break, but holy smokes. Now, on the topic of IP, because that's a huge thing within Web3, if you look at this is a Jack Daniels bottle with Dragon Ball Z on it. How much more do you think this is worth just because it has the official branding on it? I think these IP plays, it's going to matter. Okay, so the meme coins, all that stuff's going on, right? And Charles Hoskinson here from Cardano is highlighting this one called Tib, and it's like something to do with like animals that Charles Hoskin has. Apparently is like a pig or something that we're showing. But the reason they're bringing this up is there a difference between when we have your, I guess, quote unquote, typical celebrities out there saying certain things and highlighting certain tokens versus people that are arguably attempting to try to do good within the space? Is there kind of a barrier? Because again, meme coins are always a very high level discussion that's going on out here. And Buffalo Space coming on through with a fatty 28 months. Holy smokes.
Schiller is the GOAT.
Yo, no, you. Thank you so much, Mr. Buffalo Space. You're great. But so Charles Hoskinson is basically helping to promote or bringing awareness to this meme coin. And I'm curious, as we continue to go on here and we get out of like the celebrity negativity area, does it just kind of open up to everybody being like, hey, here's all these meme coins, you got to get into them? Because are they really that much different than some of these NFT collections? The arguments about utility, yeah, maybe. This is crazy. In the depths of the, I don't know what market we want to call this, the bullish, bearish market, depending on your timeline, a CryptoPunk with a hood sells for $838,000 American dollars. $838,000 American dollars. Holy smokes. Seen a lot of punks, not a lot, sorry, I should say a decent amount regurgitating, selling at the floor. But again, some of these grails are still grabbing an absolute premium. Now, we highlighted a couple of weeks ago the Pokemon trading card game art contest had an impact because there was a whole bunch of entries that got through for AI. They just released a statement saying, we are aware that select entrants from the top 300 finalists of the Pokemon TCG Illustration Contest 2024 have violated the official contest rules. As a result, entrants in violation of the rules have been disqualified from the contest. Hell yeah. So there we go. A little bit of AI action on your timeline. Is there a way to turn off the MetaMask smart transaction feature? Yes, if you guys go to your MetaMask, if you go in the drop down, click up on the settings and then go in advanced, you just click a little button and then it will turn off smart transaction. If you're having something that's a transaction that keeps on failing and it shows and it quotes when you click into it that they're covering the transaction fee, I don't know what's going on. I've saw some issues within Blur and some other just typical dealings out there that caused problems. So just be aware that if that is happening to you, it's just the fact that this smart transaction feature is on in your MetaMask, but you go into your settings for advanced and you are good to go. People still use MetaMask. Really? What do you use though, sir? Give me the lowdown. Shrapnel. You guys remember Shrapnel? Listen, I don't ever mean to like dog on anything, right? Like, well, we're kind of like open discussing and like giving opinions, and that's pretty much it. But like, wasn't Shrapnel all over the timeline? And I feel like nobody is talking about it anymore. I don't know if these people are paying for marketing, if it's just like the hot flavor of the week or what. But anyway, Shrapnel just confuses the heck out of me, says Yin. I feel like it has an identity crisis and has no idea what it wants to be. One good thing about this update is they give you a notification when you get a kill. Okay, so I guess that wasn't a thing before. I'm going to go over more in depth, but it seems like Play Shrapnel are trying to mix an arcade action shooter with a realistic shooter, but it is doing it in a bad way. Now, there's a whole bunch of different things, but I'll kind of let this clip play in the background here, and you can make your own ideas. But Robbie, Rainbow, Phantom, anything else? But why anything else? Listen, we got to have the details. I need the threads. I need you to tag me. We need to be edumacated. You know what I mean? But this is an interesting take regarding this. I mean, on kind of first glance, is it trying to be like an arcade game? Is it trying to be super hyper realistic? Yeah, I can see where it kind of has those identity crises in that sort of way. But again, the Dr. Disrespect thing, we talked about it yesterday, but oh my goodness, the statement that he put out today, that was not great. And again, it just goes back to, okay, for all these games, okay, here is like a blockchain shooter game. What's the differential between them? Now, some massive news that most people probably have seen on the timeline today and caused quite a bit of stir is the Blast, the token going out. I'll get into some more details about that in a second, but Blast officially introducing the Blast Foundation. The foundation was created to support the community in achieving the Blast vision, which will be shared publicly on June 26th, which is tomorrow. Until now, this account and website was managed by Arcade Research, a Blast development company. As part of the transition towards a decentralized governance structure, this Twitter, the website, and governance of the Blast protocol are being transitioned to Foundation control. Ground control to Major Tom. And so all these apps that were farming different things for Blast Gold, some of them have been good actors. Some of them ended up being bad ones. I'm very curious watching the Root Network, how many things end up going sideways for some of the people that are building on there that are getting kind of the support directly from the different social media accounts, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, a Raving Ape is saying scum of the earth equals District 1. Holy fud it, brother. Pretty nice of District 1 to give itself 100,000 plus gold and 110 million points right at the end there. Add it to the list. Holy smokes. Not a great look. Okay, Young Content saying, after all these years, Immutable hasn't done Shiza for Web3 gaming. So my question to you, for anybody that's watching, have you guys ever gone and actually looked at the Immutable website? Obviously, they have a lot going on, but legitimately, have you ever seen $1 billion ecosystem funding, 20 plus marketplaces, 300 games, insane things breaking down? As we're scrolling along, they have Age of Zalmokis. It's an ancient fantasy open world grounded history. Aglet, location-based app connecting sneakerheads, creators, and brands through virtual sneakers. And I'm just quickly reading these just so you guys can have an idea, because I've actually never done this until now. All at once, dive into strategic card battles, build powerful deck, compete worldwide. We have Arcbound, Ardina, Arsenal, Avalon. That sounds kind of familiar. Unleash your inner hero in Avalon, where empires rise, teams unite, and dragons take flight. Now I don't know. I'm guessing this isn't actually available yet. Yeah, okay, so it's coming soon, along with probably almost everything else that's in here, but is very interesting. When you look at these, I mean, some of them you might not like, some of them you might like, but there is a lot. Oh, and they have V-Friends. I forgot about Book Games. Holy smokes, what the hell is going on with Book Games and Gary V? Also, the Cool Cats game, that's something you might have forgotten about. Again, something is coming on IMX for that. Just quickly scrolling through here, if there's anything else that keeps our eye or catches our attention. Ember Sword, we've covered that. Gods Unchained. So yeah, there's a couple different ones, but again, most of them are coming soon. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, in meme coin news, holy smokes, they are cooking. They are the top 24-hour gainers, at least in the top 100. We got Brett, who's a meme coin on base, and then Dog with Hat at 16.75%. Very interesting to see. On the top of gainers, it is a couple of meme coins. Is it just me, says Sile Toshi? Or is it crazy that Bored Apes doesn't have 24/7 merch store? You can buy something standard designs line in a few different categories for rock IRL if you want. So I think earlier on there was all this notion and thought, right, of, hey, these are luxury goods, all those kind of jazz, and it's good because you want that scarcity. I think that's fine, but also when we, talk about the whole mass adoption, it does feel very, very weird that there isn't or hasn't been a quicker rollout of just general merch for everybody. And again, you can have those exclusive merch pieces, et cetera, but why? Yeah, I kind of totally agree with the post. Why the hell isn't that happening all the time? Big news coming out of Forgotten Runes Wizard Cult. We have exciting news about our MMORPG's timeline and what you can expect. The new Foundations build has been highly anticipated, and you've been wonderfully patient as we build Web3 gaming's next breakout hit. So their high-level context, our Q1 build of new Foundations has been done for a couple months, and our Q2 build, Echoes of the Past, is just wrapping up development. Although originally slated to release at the end of June, we held it back due to an incredible partnership deal which had to be negotiated. Okay. Yo, Danny Case, what's going on, brother? This deal is now signed. Because of this partnership, we've had to delay further in order to layer in new user flows that will accommodate an onboarding ramp that properly incentivizes and captures active users and on-chain transactions. So I guess the question with this is like, who's the incredible partnership deal? And why do they have to change how the layer of user flow will work? And again, I'm no expert. I don't know half of this stuff, right? But what exactly does that mean? We know that they're supposed to be on Epic Games. Is this supposed to be launched like within the Blizzard app? And it's actually this massive thing. We have all these questions. And also, I think we have a massive amount of speculation and verbiage similar to this that a lot of collections have put out. So I feel people are excited about that. And I think this is really cool. But then it's like, okay, what is that big punch? What are the changes for it? But let's continue. Because of this partnership, I just friggin' read that. What a dumbass. We can't go into much detail or much more detail yet, but all of this allows us to tee up something massive we have been cooking for the entire Forgotten Runes ecosystem. The upcoming Runeverse build will now be a much richer game and more complete experience than previously planned in the playtest. And again, I should probably show like kind of just an idea this is the style of it. So maybe RuneScape-esque. I feel like there's a couple games that are going like the MMO genre that have this style within the blockchain gaming space. But I think the art and whatnot they have is really, really cool. It will be paired with a huge publishing chain and partner announcement. So publishing chain, what the hell does that mean? It will also be paired with sweet new reward systems spanning the game and beyond, benefiting longtime cult members and new ones. And most exciting, the full live service release of Forgotten Runeverse is coming Q4 of 2024, even sooner than we internally projected. So, I mean, this is interesting because I would classify this as one of the bigger Web3 games that are out there. Again, there's a lot of ones with significant funding that have a lot going for them with, again, really solid teams, and them saying, hey, it's coming in Q4 of this year. I mean, they must be cooking and must be very, very close. Okay, today we connect Solana to the entire internet. Vote, donate, mint, swap, pay, use Solana everywhere. So this is showing where you can just post something, have a link to it, and then all of a sudden you can actually use your wallet within that link. Now, there's a lot of questions about security concerns, et cetera, but this is wild. If you can just singularly take a link and have it directly connected to a chain, in this case, Solana, damn, it makes things silky smooth. And this has gotten a whole bunch of traction, upwards of 2 million views just here on that X post, but massive news for Solana. And we'll see who else tries to do something similar. Introducing Genkai avatars from CyberKongz here. Might be CZ no longer on the CyberKong boards helping out with Coco, but it does look like we got avatars rocking and rolling. Interesting to see the style. Of course, every collection has been doing different things. Forgotten Runes, 3D collections, Bored Apes having that too, and I think we're going to see more and more of that. And this whole metaverse idea, the interoperability, is there going to be a big boom? Wait, what? So the top 1,000 holders need to lock their fund equal amount on Blast for another 6 months to claim the airdrop? Oh my goodness. So if you haven't seen, there has been a huge, unbelievably large fallout with a bunch of people that were trying to farm on Blur for Blast. Yo, Atari, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing good, buddy. Basically, the Blast Foundation, we'll kind of go through this, but they say they're allocating 3% of Blast to the Blur Foundation. And 1% will go to Blur traders and Blur holders is in Season 3, so 0.5% each. So everybody's farming. Everybody is farming for this airdrop on Blast, which people are putting out outstanding projections. Obviously, there's a huge amount of people that are farming directly on Blast, but there is, as you know, the different incentives within Blur, and so they were doing that for Blast. But they're getting 0.5% 0.5% of like the blast, and that is just gonna be insane. Like, people are absolutely losing their minds saying I mean, we'll get into the tweet. I don't want to spoil anything, but 0.5% has been reserved for Blur traders in season 4. So there's going to be another Blur season where, again, if Blast does really well, people are going to be fighting for that 0.5%. We have like a weird notion within ETH NFTs, so I don't really know what to think about that. And then 0.5% will be reserved for future use, which is kind of crazy. There's going to be a boom and this channel is going to blow up. Yo, Tommy, thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll have some good news and it'll be all hunky-dory and, you know, positive vibes. But the stories right now, at least for the Blur farmers, not so great. So CBB, again, the top Blur farmer by double. There was there was nobody even close. They have been going on a rampage on the timeline. If you're wanting to see some FUD, if you want to inject that shit into your veins, check this man's Twitter. He says, absolute rug from Pac-Man Blur, basically shitting on every Blur farmers and stakers. People are pissed. He also adds in saying, I made 15 million profit from Blur season 1 and season 2, but definitely never again touching anything related to Blur or the Blast team. So there's kind of this notion here where, from what I've understood, is everybody said Pac-Man would take care of us. And Pac-Man, if you don't know, who's like the founder of Blast and Blur. And this was the rhetoric that was being kind of put on the timeline. And we've seen various rhetoric, right? Where the Never Fade Yuga, that's one. I'm trying to think of what else for other collections. I feel like there's something to do with Pudgy Penguins as well, but it's not as well known, right? But Pac-Man will take care of us, Never Fade Yuga. There's a certain slogans that come around. And then there's like one thing that happens and it completely changes the narrative. And you have this guy who's just absolutely pissed on the timeline. And so do you fault the people that are bidding on these things, that were trying to assume that they were going to get like a decent allocation? Is it bad for Pac-Man? Do you just not use the products anymore? That's kind of the question. Yo, RDL, what is going on? Sheesh. Now, so he said that he lost like 5 mil farming the past season. So, I mean, arguably now they're at 10 million if they actually lost 5. Not awful, but you got to wonder what else they're doing if they're kind of doing this in this speculative nature. But on that topic, Smoke That Dank says, you know what would be hilarious? Yeah. If diamonds, talking about Magic Eden Diamonds reward, which is another ETH marketplace, end up being the massive airdrop that people thought Blur would be, and all these whales farmed the wrong airdrop. This was part of my thesis for farming diamonds so hard early on. The news today just reinforces my conviction. Says not financial advice is part of it, but it is kind of interesting as everybody's focused on Blur and Blast. Absolutely nobody's talking about Magic Eden, even though they were a couple weeks ago, which we've been covering, right? It's funny how the narrative, the motions, everything just shifts so violently. Now, the 3AC Sotheby's auction. Guys listed, we're selling for $1 million. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Okay, so the gold ape sold for 264 USD. I think it was around 70 ETH. The current ones listed on Blur, OpenSea, etc. are like 300 plus. So, I mean, arguably it's like a deal, right? If you're doing a little bit of comparisons. But the M2, which is this one right here, sold for 30,000. And the M1, which is the bottom one, sold for 13,000. And then the gold doggo sold for 3,000. So just kind of goes to highlight how much in depth of a bear market we are. And so for the full set price, 309,000 or 91 ETH. So my question to you, would you rather have 91 ETH or would you rather have these 4 NFTs? That is the question of the day. Leaked info. Everyday Zucchini has shared some updates about heavy metal. Okay, we got some Web3 gaming going on. We got Forgotten Runes happening. We were just going over Immutable X, heavy metal, maybe coming back here with Faraway. What's going on? Despite rumors, the project isn't dead. I mean, I don't think it was dead, or it's just a lot of concern about, okay, what kind of value are they going to bring to it? Anywho, it's set to join Project Dragon, which is the big other side release, or game test that they're about to have next month and will feature its own leaderboard in Legends of the Mara. Apley13 confirmed on Discord that it will be part of an upcoming AAA game with a trailer dropping soon, 1 to 3 weeks. If you're planning to purchase new heavy metal, you can look and see through these things. And so it shows just like how there is with the... are they called Kodamara? I'm trying to remember because I feel like everything's got a different name, but those characters, they were either a hunter or a farmer or an enchanter, and it looks like these heavy metals are going to, well, at least some of the more rare ones, are going to be able to use for both categories, which is very, very interesting to me. And Danny, you'd rather have the ETH instead of the 4 gold 8 board 8 package? Hell yeah, brother. Yo, not good. What's going on? Imagine saying that you're going to play League and then absolutely not responding to anything. Imagine that. And again, if you play League and you're in NA, let me know. Would love to rep with you. Okay, so Buffalo Space came in earlier and he said, I'm a Buffalo soldier. And he flamed MetaMask, but he also said use any other wallet. And so here's some interesting news. Introducing Rainbow ETH rewards. If you're familiar, Rainbow Wallet is a thing that exists. We are airdropping our hard-earned ETH to the most active Rainbow users every single week. This is just phase 1. There are more phases to come, but for now, let's talk about Rainbow ETH rewards. The plan is simple. Do stuff on chain, get points, earn ETH. Nice. Today we're airdropping ETH to the top 10,000 all-time point leaders. Going forward, ETH rewards will be airdropped every Tuesday at 4:20 EST to the top 1,000 users based on the number of points they earned last week. So a little bit kind of geared towards the whales. You know, we got a little bit of problem on some of it. But anyway, you can claim your ETH rewards on any super chain network supported by Rainbow. Here's how to claim some stuff. And they're just saying it's phase 1. So again, everything is having a reward system. If you don't have an Air Miles card, don't worry. As long as you're in the blockchain space, you're going to do fine, baby. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks Offshore Summer Edition. These things always kind of freak me out. Let me give you like the full screen. No, not that full screen. Okay, there we go. But it's showing that at the peak of October 22, these were about $100,000. And right now they're at about $57,000. And so, listen, things might be looking a little bit bleak in the NFT space, but don't worry. Luxury watches, everything else is looking kind of interesting too. But let's inject that bullishness in for you. Many of you have prematurely called for the death of the digital NFT art. True. Yeah, a lot of valuations are cooked 80 to 90% from mania highs, to be expected, to be honest. But years later, many are still holding very high valuations for stuff which many claim should be worth, you guessed it, 0. The art is here to stay and it will only become more important over time. Zero doubt in my mind, which is why I refuse to sell even one piece from my collection to basement bidders. Did he just call us basement bidders? Well, no, because we're not buying NFTs, but we're watching the market and ready to act when we feel like it. That's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Thank you so much for coming on through. Atari, appreciate you being able to come through live on this one. Tommy, absolute goat. RDLL, yeah, brother. Danny Case, when are you going to be playing Singe? Not good. Thanks for coming on by, except for the fact you missed League early, you absolute fish. And Buffalo Space. It was a Buffalo soldier.